Today, you guys are in for a treat. I've got somebody who has exited businesses for over $1 billion. We're not talking valuations or anything. We're talking about money has exchanged hands. Businesses have been sold for over $1 billion. And these exits have been in the home service industry. And now he's trying to figure out what his next move is. So I've got David Royce on. What's up, man?
Not much. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We've got my bald co-host, Brian Davila, here as well. He's like the most excited because he's been thinking about, I want to start a business that I can exit because like our real estate businesses aren't really exitable.
Yeah.
And so he's been thinking about home services and, you know, my golf mastermind, we got a lot of home service guys who have valuable businesses. And I'm just like, man, maybe I should be in home services, you know? Like Tommy Mello's been on the podcast before and he's a good buddy. And it's like, dude, his business is worth over $1 billion. And you're just like, there's a lot of money in this business.
Yeah, really good guy. I was at his place doing his podcast not too long ago, and it's fascinating to see how big that place is.
Yeah, dude.
So much going on.
Yep. So you started in pest control.
I did, yeah.
And your last pest control business got to like 500 million in revenue.
That's right.
And you guys sold it. Yep. That's a lot of bugs that are being killed by you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
So like
we're hired assassins.
Yeah. So how did that all start?
So I got into the industry as a broke college student. I was trying to pay my way through school, and I had a friend come to me. I was working at a snowboard shop for minimum wage, and he goes, "You know, I made 25 grand last summer in about 3.5 months selling pest control door to door." And I was like, "I don't know what that is, but I'm in." It's like 25 grand in that much time. Like I worked this job years and not make that much. So I drove out to Sacramento and got there, and there was a little bit of a problem. I sucked at sales. I was horrible at it. I sold 0 for 5 days straight, and it's a commission only job.
Yep.
When I'm watching my other friends sell 1 to 4 per day. And so the only advantage was free cardio, I guess. So that weekend I went to a bookstore and I bought 6 sales books, and I just started reading. I said, okay, I'm going to commit myself. I know this is the best opportunity right now in my life that I know of. I'm going to commit 90 minutes a day and just read every morning and in the afternoon. And then, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'd already got an apartment out there. You know, I didn't want to walk out and bail on my apartment. So yeah, by the end of the summer, I was the top rookie.
Really?
In the whole company, yeah.
What books did you read that helped you the most?
So a lot of the classics like Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins, Brian Tracy, Jeffrey Gitmer, all those types of guys.
And how much were you making like per sale?
Oh gosh, you know, per sale, I think it was probably like $65 every 2 months, if I remember correctly.
65 bucks.
It's like 24. This is like 24 years ago, but
just pure volume.
Yeah, it's just you're trying to sell about 2.5 per day.
That was always my dilemma with like getting into pest control, because aren't like the ticket sizes so small? So I don't understand how the salespeople actually make good money.
Yeah. So the way it works, like back then, let's call it maybe you're making $100 a sale.
Yeah.
Right. And your goal is to sell about 2.5 per day. And I could sell about 3 to 4 per day.
So $300 to $400 you're making.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You don't get any of the recurring.
And you got roughly 100 days in the summertime. And you know, so you can just quickly do the math on that. And so the nice thing about it is that every day you're getting sales, you know, or in theory, unless you're really bad like I was at the beginning. Whereas, you know, other types of industries, the sale might be like 1 every 3 days. Okay. So it's a little bit harder to stay motivated. And what I see with those industries is a lot of people, when they start, they quit.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is just too hard. Whereas pest control was a lot easier to get people going. And so we had a much higher employee retention rate.
Yeah. Sam Taggart was on last week and he was talking about how, you know, you should work your way up to the high ticket, tougher sales.
Yeah.
You know, like start in pest control, which are probably the easiest sell, alarms and internet.
Yeah, it's kind of like pest, and then alarms gets harder, and then solar is even harder. Because it's such a long sale. You got to be with the customer for sometimes 2 months to get them to actually go through. There's a permit process.
So you start as a sales guy. How the heck does it build into you're the owner and you're like building these massive companies?
Yeah. So the next year I went to go work for a startup, and when I got there, there was no training manual. And I asked the boss, I'm like, hey, I brought my friends out. I was going to be a sales manager. You know, can I write a training manual for you so that my friends can do well? And he was like, really? Yeah, totally. It'd be great. And he was a great trainer too. He would help us like videotape approaches. And so then we started videotaping and we created sales videos for the guys. And at the end of the summer, our team had done about twice as much as his other location, double the amount of sales per rep that the other location did. And he said, I want you to lead the whole sales program, and I'll give you a cut of everybody in the future. And so if you go back to school, you recruit people, you come back, you train with every single person, and make sure the program goes well over the summer, so I don't have to oversee it. I'm going to give you a cut. And so by my 4th summer, I was making $225,000 in a summer. And that's
because you're
over 20 years ago, right? So it's almost $500,000 in today's money.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a summer.
Yeah. And so
you're in college.
Yeah, and I'm in college.
And I'm balling.
And and this is the crazy thing. I'm like saving the whole time. I'm like living frugally because I'm thinking, okay, I got to go to MBA school, and I don't know if I'm going to do this or internships or what I'll be doing after that point. And I go to him for, it was actually for a letter of recommendation. I was going to apply to investment banks. I'd been studying finance.
What the heck?
And in pest control, I'm like, I need you to make this really look good. I'm not sure how pest control is going to look, but, I'm managing like 100 people. I'm, top 1% of 1% in sales, and he goes, I don't get it. Why on earth are you going to go work 80, 100-hour weeks for somebody else? You should just go start your own pest control company. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of embarrassing to say, but it didn't seem impressive to me. It seemed, less sophisticated. I had a college degree. I wanted to go to New York, do mergers and acquisitions,
And then these are all just hustlers and pounding doors.
Yeah. And then he told me he was selling his business. I'm like, wait, you've only been in business for 4 years. This is like new. I'm like, how much are you selling it for? And he's like, $10 million.
$10 million?
And I was like, what? I'm like, I know you only put in this much. It only took 4 years. And I'm like, I was here 3 of those 4 years.
I watched
I'm like, well,
you let it.
Yeah. You made him $10 million.
The wheel started to crank, right? And I was like, well, maybe I'll think about it. And it took me a couple months to finally go, okay, I'm in. But, I swallowed my pride and went after the opportunity.
You bought it?
No, so I didn't buy it. So he sold it to Terminex. And one thing I did do is I licensed his company name from him. Because Terminex didn't want it. It didn't have any brand recognition.
And Terminex was just using Terminex.
And so my idea was if I'm using his company name, he wants to help me. He ended up being a silent investor in my first business. He didn't want to do any of the work. But the nice thing is because I was on the sales side, I didn't know the ops side that well. But I wanted somebody I could call, once a month and be like, hey, I got these issues. What do you think? How would I do this differently? And since then, he's had other people go start up kind of similar. They're not franchises. They're like licensing deals, but yeah. So that's how I originally got into it. And I did it for 4 years with that company. And the first year I almost bankrupt the company. We grew too fast. So I thought we were going to put on maybe 4,000 or 5,000 new customers, which is huge just on its own. But we put on 7,500 customers. And the way, you guys probably know this, the way the commissions pay out on those, you're trying to get these customers to sign up for a year. And so you're paying out the commissions a little bit up front.
Yeah, you're eating some cost.
Yeah. And so you got to have enough cash flow to make that work because you're not going to have it from the business. So you have to have savings saved up.
Yep.
And the problem was we did too well. I learned, you can be killing it, but dying actually at the same time.
Because of cash flow.
Yeah. So I had to go talk to a few of the top sales guys and say, hey, can you give me 2 more months? Like I'll give you 10% interest.
Yeah.
But I needed this to work. And they had such a great summer and their teams did amazing. And they're like, yeah, that's totally fine. And they worked for me for multiple years after that.
Hey, if you're looking to get started in real estate investing, then you need to use our Cashflow 2.0 system. We give you all the motivated seller leads. We give you software, one-on-one coaching, and everything you need to start your real estate investing business. And we've seen so much success from our students with this system that we are willing to guarantee it. So if you want to learn how it all works and how you can get your first real estate deal today, go on over to wealthyinvestor.com and apply. Someone from our team will get with you and you could have your first deal within a week once you get on this system. So head on over to wealthyinvestor.com and we'll see you there. So how long before you sold that?
So I did that one for 4 years.
Okay.
And that was the first time when I had an inkling I might need more cash to grow because we're growing really fast. I also learned, make sure to pay attention to your financials.
Yeah.
And your cash flow. Like check your bank accounts weekly, all that kind of a thing. So that was really helpful. What do they say? Like revenues are vanity, profits are sanity, but cash flow is reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I learned that super early.
Okay.
So then I sell to Terminex.
Okay.
And I do what's called an asset deal. So I just sell them the customer base with the corresponding technicians.
Mm-hmm.
But Terminex let me keep the sales force, one key operator or, my key operators that I had. And then we didn't have an executive team for the first one. But in the future, when I'd actually did 3 deals with Terminex over time so that I could get money. So the first company, I had $600,000 to invest between myself and my silent investor. The next company, now I had, the Forbes that I sold for 13 million. So
Yeah.
I got, say call it 10 million or whatever, or millions. Did that for the next company. And we split into 4 different states. And we're just trying to see if we could replicate the model. The first company was very much like being in a lab, trying to understand like what worked, what didn't, experimenting with new ideas. I had knocked so many doors. I think I knocked 60,000 doors when I was a sales rep over 4 summers. And so I kind of got a PhD in
doors.
Yeah. Like what people didn't like about the industry and where it needed to be improved.
Doors and abuse.
So we just started experimenting with it. And then we wrote down all our recipe for success, right? And training manuals, job descriptions, all that. And then it was just, how do we replicate this? And so went into the 4 different states. We ended up in 9 different states with that second company. We're doing super well. And then Terminex came knocking and said, can we buy your company? Again. We'd like to buy it. I said, yeah, I could use more cash. We could grow faster. Forbes said I sold that one for 30 million.
Damn.
Now I got tens of millions, right?
Yeah.
To be able to grow. And then that's when I got really fun. I have to be honest, like pest control was very blue collar to me, and I wanted to put my own spin on it. And then we were growing so fast that recruiting the right talent was going to be key. And I couldn't be in every location and all that. And so one of the things I did is I started studying tech companies, so Google. I went and toured Meta. I toured the Nike headquarters, Zappos, and started getting ideas to make our headquarters really cool. Yeah. So we put in like an NCAA basketball court. We had a golf simulator, movie room, ping pong, foosball.
All right, that's what I want
all
to
that
do
kind of
too.
stuff.
I've been saying that. When I buy an office, I'm putting in tight stuff.
It's so much fun. Like it's one of those things where it really makes you stand out.
Yeah.
And our office it looked like a tech office when you walked in. And so when people walked in, they're like, holy crap, what is this? Like, I don't know what it is, but I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
So that was the idea. It was really a recruiting tool.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
It definitely makes you stand out, but perks they're just like the sugar. The protein's really like the program. You got to have a great training program for your people. And that's where you build the loyalty. Our salespeople could sell, they would sell 70% more than the company they previously sold with if they came over from another competitor.
Interesting.
And so the proof is really in the pudding. It's like, hey, we'll show you. We're very transparent. And that was kind of like the long-term strategy. If we're better than everybody else, people will continue to come back to us.
Now you were telling me that, beforehand, you gave a bunch of equity to your employees on the sale.
With Aptive, yeah.
Was that part of the process for hiring great talent? And did you take that from tech companies? You're like, hey, you basically have options.
It was another page out of the Silicon Valley playbook.
Yeah.
So with my 4th business, we just said, I'd made obviously millions and millions of dollars at that point. A lot of people had seen me make a lot, and I wanted to get back to everybody. And I thought this is a really great retention tool to keep people excited about it. And so when I sell the next time, we're going to have a huge payday for everybody. So we set aside 25% of the company for all of anybody who it was in a management position. It could be lowest, like sales manager on the totem pole, technician or a technical manager, regional managers, executive team, customer service managers. It was really cool. Like when we sold, I can't say how much I actually sold for because of the NDA, but if we're doing 500 million and the average pest control company sells for 1 to 3 times revenues.
Yeah.
I can comfortably say it was a 9-digit number.
Yeah.
And we had maybe hundreds of people make, 6 or 7 figures.
Yeah. One of my friends actually, Chandler David Smith, he's actually coming next week, Brian.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I remember him telling me about like having an exit and all this stuff. And it was with you guys.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Chandler.
Yeah. He's a great guy. So, that was like what, a year plus ago, a little over a year ago. You guys did that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you've just been, chilling.
Yeah. Taking time off. Yeah. I really wanted to be, it's good. You have to like be okay with the lack of dopamine hits throughout the day. It's like, it's funny, you become like this animal of productivity, but truth be told, I had been like working my way out of the business. With the last company, we'd already expanded to a couple thousand cities with Altera, the previous company. and I was getting bored. There wasn't a whole lot that was new to me. And so I took my right-hand guy, my protege, who I'd been training for years and years, and put him in as CEO, and I was chairman. So I went from about 80-hour weeks down to 40. And then I went down to 30. Then, I started pushing to get down to 20. And so it wasn't like a total 100 miles an hour to zero. But I think just having time, it makes you think a lot about why did you do what you did?
Yeah.
What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? If you really don't ever have to work another day in your life, what would you do if money didn't matter? And so I think the next thing for me is probably something more creative or something more philanthropic. I keep diving. I'm in my exploratory phase now, where I'm diving down rabbit holes and, just looking up all kinds of different businesses and trying to figure out what would be most interesting.
Yeah. And how old are you now?
I'm 49.
So you're 49. And you said
49.
When did you start tapering off? Because you said you were working 80-hour weeks for a long time. It seems.
It's when I had kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I started to have family, your priorities.
How old were you then?
To start change. I was 35 when I had my first child.
So you started later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the biggest advantages too. It's something a lot of people should know. Like my wife and I, we waited to have kids a long time. We were married for 10 and a half years.
Oh, wow.
We had children.
She was in the game.
Yeah. She wanted to be a securities fraud attorney, litigator.
Oh, wow.
And, between law school and all that, she was working crazy hours. I was working crazy hours. And so that's why it worked. I don't know that most people could have put up with, a partner doing 16-hour days if, they're
just sitting at home.
They're not working or whatever else, or, they have, maybe 8-hour day. Just tough.
Yeah.
So for us, like we'd see each other for about an hour at night. We'd eat dinner together. And then on weekends, usually Saturday nights, we'd go hang out, celebrate, and then Sunday, just relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, obviously you've had these massive exits, and you're exploring. So like, what is that process? Are you just like trying to get inspired by different things and watching YouTube and listening to ideas, asking AI? Like what's the process here?
Yeah, I think AI is probably the primary one.
Yeah.
It's like having a mentor. Today is such an amazing time to be an entrepreneur. So one, like when I started, it's like you either kind of had to know somebody that could mentor you, or you went to college, right? Maybe you went to MBA school, because they had the keys to business or whatever. Either that, or I don't know what you did. Did you read an encyclopedia? The internet was just barely getting in the 2000s, and like the internet had crashed, and the internet is not what it is today. It was not great.
Yeah.
And so, today, like, gosh, the amount of podcasts that are out there, like what you guys do is so incredible to get, the information to other people so they can go do something similar, stay inspired, learn things that can help them improve their business. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
And then now with AI, it's insane how much it knows.
Yeah.
I mean, you can literally ask it, okay, tell me what are like the top 20 like traditional businesses, blue collar, unsexy businesses, which ones have the top profit margins, which ones are the most likely to scale the quickest. It has a lot of answers, and it's surprisingly accurate. So it's really fun. It's like having a mentor right there that can just talk to you about things, and you can always
knows everything.
Double check you can always double check it, of course.
Right.
But,
where do you think AI goes in the future? Are you like, especially you're in the blue collar space, so that's like last to be affected.
Yeah, it usually is.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I mean, I think AI is going to continue to take out like a lot of white collar entry level jobs. I think, you see it today with like, it can review legal docs. It's code. You can code with it. You don't need a lot of the coders. It's crazy
upstairs and doing everything.
Yeah, it's crazy to see a lot of coders getting laid off or not getting as many hired, for the entry level stuff, for all the basic stuff. But the thing I will say is AI is not unclogging your toilet anytime soon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not getting on your roof. It's not treating for termites inside walls or whatever. I think it's going to be a long time before you actually can have robots doing a lot of that sophisticated work. It's just really hard to automate.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I see is I think there's a renewed interest in a lot of these types of jobs, or not even just the jobs, but also the entrepreneurship, because people are going, okay, I know this can't really get disrupted as much. And
so are you specifically looking to stay blue collar for that? It better than anything. And obviously it's not going to get disrupted.
No, I actually think I'll do something totally different.
Okay.
Just for
fun.
Yeah. Just like, I don't have to necessarily do it. It's funny because like that'd be
You want to learn new skills.
that'd be my background. And I always like, it's probably the thing I promote the most just because that's what I did. And it's like, here's the playbook. Here's how you would do it, you know, and explain it to people.
So you won't go for like a fourth bite at the apple in pest control.
No, I've had my fourth, you know, I did the solar energy thing for a bit. And yeah, I feel like I'm kind of done. I think it's going to be something more creative, more philanthropic, you know, just totally in a different arena to kind of work a different part of my mind.
Do you think the opportunity is still there in pest control?
I do. Yeah, I think there's, so the key thing I see now is you have all these baby boomers who are retiring, and many of them, they would like to often pass their businesses down to their kids, but a lot of the kids don't want it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's pest control or other blue collar businesses. And so I've heard it referred to as like the silver tsunami. All these people are retiring and they can't sell their business. So a lot of them are willing to even like sell or finance it to other people.
Yeah.
I think there's a great opportunity to get in there, especially if you have money saved up, buy a business that it runs really, really well, and then start bolting on, like make that your platform business and then bolt on by other businesses like that and start to scale it, because you can buy those for a lot cheaper and play the arbitrage game. So you might buy those at, you know, maybe 3 or 4x a multiple of EBITDA. And then if you combine maybe 20 of them, you might be able to get, I don't know, 10 times.
Yeah, that's what 12 times trying to do with roofing companies.
Yeah. Roofing's a good model. I see private equity rolling those up right now. Yep.
Do you have any interest in that? Like, it seems like, I mean, obviously it seems lucrative, but then it just kind of seems like very just not creative.
Yeah. I think for me, probably not.
Yeah.
Like I've been there, done that after 20 years. And for me, if I'm not growing, I'm dying. Like that's kind of my mentality. I really just love learning new things and kind of expanding my knowledge.
We got to get you into golf. That'll humble you.
Yeah, that'll humble you for sure.
So I never had time for it now.
Yeah. You'll get humbled and you're like, all right, I got to learn this. Like, I'm tired of sucking. That's funny. So, I mean, as a guy who's accumulated a lot of wealth, how do you invest now?
So I have a group that does the majority of it for me. The hardest thing is getting access into the very best investments. So there's Mark Zuckerberg initially invested with these guys. Iconic is who I use. And Jack Dorsey, and there's Reid Hoffman. There's a bunch of tech guys in the Bay Area that helped invest into them. And because of that, because they have so many entrepreneurs that invest with them, they get access into a lot of different deals that other people can't. And then they kind of say like, okay, if somebody needs to call you and they want to ask you about your industry, you just have to be willing to take a phone call. I'm in pest control, so I don't get calls very often.
It's like it's a networking / investing group, essentially.
Yeah. And they're like a multifamily office. And so they run, you know, investments, but you know, half my portfolios in stocks, you know, S&P 500, tax loss harvesting. And then the others, it's like a combination of alternatives, you know, private equity, co-investments, secondaries, real estate.
Sounds like you don't even think about it.
Not too much. Like for me, the stuff I like is when they come to me and they're like, hey, on this next series for Anthropic, do you want to get in? And I'm like,
you're like, yeah.
So that's kind of thing. That's really why I'm with them.
And that's the only way you'll get access to an Anthropic deal. Yeah. One of my buddies, I was in YPO, and he,
me too.
Yeah. And he was telling me about like, you know, some of the investments they got access to is like OpenAI really early and stuff like that. And it's like, the public will never get that. You won't.
Yeah. It's like, you have to have enough money to like, just to be with Iconic. I think you have to have minimum 100 million.
Yeah.
It's a really high bar just to get in.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those guys, they're trying to raise so many billions of dollars at a time. It's like, they don't want a lot of little investments. They only want to talk to so many people, whatever's the path of least resistance and the easiest, right?
Right.
So most of the people who get into those, it's not even people, it's really endowments.
Yep.
You know, people with tens of billions of dollars.
Even the rich people got to pull their money together.
You're not kidding.
To get in.
Seriously.
Yeah. Because they're like, we got $2 billion. And it's like, well, all right, we're going to have to get 50 million from him. You know,
it's a lot of
100
work.
from them.
Right. For legal, it's the same amount of work, whether it's
$1
billion or $1 million.
Yeah. So I guess like my thing is like, for anyone listening, right, we're talking about really big numbers and like life after you made it.
Yep.
Let's talk to the new entrepreneurs today.
Great.
And let's not even say maybe new entrepreneurs. Let's say Okay, guys like Brian. Brian has
There
built
we go.
a 7-figure business, wholesaling real estate. He's done really well, become a millionaire. His original plan was, hey,
Congrats.
I'm gonna just make $1 million a year wholesaling and everything else.
Yeah.
And then I'll buy rental properties and like do that. Then, we had Grant Cardone in here about a couple of months ago, and Grant's just calling him thinking small.
Yeah. Called me a brokey.
Yeah. He's basically like, you're broke. And then,
Yeah, he'll call you out.
yeah. And, the last bunch of months we've had like really big guys like yourself who are like making him think bigger. I'm already like, hey, I want to like do big things.
Yeah.
So like, what would you tell a guy like Brian, who's like already a successful entrepreneur, but is a small thinker?
Great. So if you're already in entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
as far as scaling, like how do you scale?
Yeah.
So there's a few questions because I get asked this one probably the most.
Because he thinks
How
he
do you
needs to be in a
scale?
different business too, by the way.
It could be.
Yeah.
You gotta go through and analyze it. But a few things, like one is I always joke, if you want to scale your business, the way you know if you can scale it is just take a 30-day vacation. Right? And if your business is still there when you come back, like you have set it up for success in a way that you can scale it across the country to work. So a big part of that, the mistake I see most early entrepreneurs make is they are focusing in the business instead of on the business.
Mm-hmm.
They have more of a manager mentality as opposed to an operator mentality. And a lot of that goes to time management, right? So there's A's, B's, and C's. It's like you can be busy, but you want to focus on the right things in order to grow the right things in order to make a lot of money. So I call them A's, B's, and C's. There's things that are urgent and important. That's the balance. So an A is something that's super important, but it's not urgent. A B is somewhat urgent, somewhat important, and a C is it's really urgent right now. It has to be done, but it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
So what I mean by that is a C is like paying bills.
Yeah.
Right. You could set it up on auto pay. You don't have to pay it yourself, or you can have somebody else pay those bills. They're definitely important. If you don't pay them,
It's like signing closing docs when I get on you for that.
Yeah.
A B would be like human resources, right? Like hiring people. Initially, like you want to make sure you're hiring great people, but you can systematize that and you can find managers that can do a lot of that work for you instead of you having to do it. And A's would be like, how do you create a new product or a new service, business line, or how do you reduce costs? How do you become more efficient? They're like strategic things that really move the needle that make you more profitable or help you scale the business. So it might be creating training manuals, creating job descriptions, putting all of your secret sauce into, some sort of a formula so that it could be replicated into multiple locations and eventually across the country.
Mm.
So that's the idea. I wish it was more sexy than that.
Yeah.
It's like, can you create that blueprint, that recipe for success
Yeah.
that can be replicated based on what you're already doing?
What if someone wants to start a pest control company? Because that's your specialty.
Yeah.
How do they start? Where would they start?
There's a few ways you can do it. So one is if you're in sales, or if you want to learn how to start from scratch and you don't have a lot of money, the way I do it is I go learn sales first.
Mm-hmm.
Go out there, do a summer in pest control, and get really good at it. Because then you can save up money. That can at least give you money. Because if you're starting from scratch, you don't have money. You got to figure out a way to. You can't just one. You got to be able to know how to sell so you can go get customers.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, you need more and more money if you want to start getting additional employees to be able to scale it.
Uh-huh.
That's a great way to learn initially in the business. If you have some money, a great way to do it's just what I said earlier, right? You go find one of these baby boomers or the boomers that are retiring, and they're like, "Hey, I've got a business. It's really great. It's got 20% profit margins, or for net profits. We're doing about $1 million a year. You can make 100,000, or maybe it's doing 5 million a year. You're making 500,000 a year. You're like, great. I'll go get an SBA loan, or I'll seller finance it with you, or a portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you already have a blueprint, right? If you think about risk in business, the hardest part is 80-90% of businesses go out of business, right? Even venture-backed businesses. Whereas if you franchise models, it's the opposite. Only 10 to 20% of franchises go out of business.
Mm.
Because if you think about why, it's like, well, they already have the recipe for success, right? They already have the training manuals. They already have the KPIs you're supposed to measure. They have the financial forecast and what you should try to hit, each
They have
quarter.
brand.
Yeah. So you just want to mitigate. To me, I'm all about mitigating risk. A lot of people think entrepreneurs are the types of people that want to go jump out of a plane without a parachute.
Yeah.
I assure you that's, for at least for me, that is not it. I want to mitigate risk in every way I can because I want to be successful and I don't want to lose money.
Yeah.
I want to pay as little dumb tax as possible.
Yeah.
So how much money do you think someone needs to start a termite company or pest control company?
So it depends. If you're out selling, I mean, you could start from scratch. If you just went out and sold. What I would do is I put some money in the bank. Like if you wanted to sell and be a technician, I mean, that's a very basic way just to start. And it's hard because then you're substituting one for the other. If you have some money, then you can kind of start up, pay a technician, and you're just doing the sales side. That would be, the quickest way to get going.
Yeah.
And then as you build up your customer base, you're making more money, you get another technician as you continue to sell, and then another technician. And eventually you go, okay, well, how can I scale myself too? Can I bring in sales reps? It's a lot more expensive to pay a sales rep than it is for just you to go out and, acquire anything because you don't really have to pay yourself much. Whereas you got to pay salespeople and then you're trying to make money after that.
Yeah. My thought process is like, I make active income from my flipping and wholesaling business.
Yeah.
And I thought about starting like a roofing or a pest control company. So like for the first couple year or two, I don't really need any money. So
That's
I
great.
could just grow it.
Yeah.
And then eventually it'll like be profitable for me and then I could sell it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's a great idea to get something that's already out there. Like, I guess there's so many pest control companies. I'm sure you can find plenty that.
Oh, you think you
interested
should
in
buy
selling.
one of them?
Yeah, I'd say if you could buy one.
But hold on, but you said they sell for 1 to 3 times revenue. So if I try to buy something,
But that's at a big level.
If it's a smaller company, it
Yeah.
might be just 1 times revenue.
but let's just say $1 million, I'm going to have to spend $1 million to buy it.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot.
But there are,
You could sell or finance. it.
you can sell or finance it. And then
But it
there's
won't
also
even be
SBA
profitable.
SBA loans for part of it.
But if it's only bringing in, let's say 200,000 a year, that's net. That's before debt.
Yeah. Well, what
So
is
it would
the
be-
typical margin of the $1 million pest control company, you think?
20.
Yeah, it's about 20.
So then it's
Yeah, if
not
it's run
gonna
well.
it's gonna lose money because then on a $1 million SBA loan,
Yeah, it depends on what the interest rate is.
yeah,
For sure. But if everybody else, like think about it right now, if interest rates are high,
Mhm.
the guys that are trying to sell their businesses, they're all screwed right now because people are all saying the same thing. And so they're like, look, I'll sell or finance it to you over time.
Mhm.
Let's just work something out where I get something. Because otherwise they're just going to have to shut their doors.
yeah,
And they're going to make nothing. And
Mhm.
everything stops all at once. So they might as well come up with some sort of idea
yeah,
to be able to make something, over the next few years. And you might be like, hey, over the next 10 years, you're going to get a piece of the company this way.
Mhm.
And I want you to still work with the company for a year or two. You're going to help train me
yeah,
to make sure I understand it and how it works well and why it does well.
Well, I think the goal for you would be like, in that example, you pay this guy $100,000 a year, right, towards the seller finance. And so you still have some meat on the bone, but like you're going to
Yeah.
grow it, right? So now it's at $2 million the
Yeah.
next year. And now you are making, 100,000 on the first million. And then now you're making 200,000 on the next million. So now it does net 300,000 a year. And then the next year and the next year, because it has to grow.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's never just, if you think about it, it's never just sitting there. Like you can grow it
Yeah.
as well. So you grow out of like what you owe over
Yeah.
time. So if you have some technological experience, like a lot of these guys are old timers.
But isn't it cheaper at $1 million? Wouldn't it be cheaper for me to just invest 100 to 200 grand out of pocket and just start from scratch instead
You're
of
good
being
at
$1 million dollars in debt?
Yeah. If you're good at sales.
Yeah,
I do like if you bought something, at least you have something with training wheels on it,
yeah,
like kind of a blueprint of how to do it.
yeah,
But I mean, you could go learn the industry. If you went and just learned, if you went and sold and then you became a technician and you figured that out, for the most part, pest control is pretty easy. That's the majority of what's there. There's also the customer service side in a house, but that's not hard to do.
Would you say it's better to start a franchise? Can I start a franchise with one of those big pest control companies? Is that
Sure.
better, you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure that a franchise versus buying, as long as you looked and found a good company that has good profit margins, a franchise of a big company would definitely have best practices, hands
Mhm.
down. But I also think if you just went and worked for one of those companies for 6 months to a year and you figured everything out, you would know what all their best practices are.
Got
You
it.
just wrote them all down. You're like, okay, this is the way to do it the best. And then you bought somebody else.
Yeah.
That'd actually be a really interesting strategy because then you could go, okay, I bought this guy who's a mom and pop. he's still using paper.
Yeah.
You know, we used, a software system over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go get like a CRM. I'm going to, implement these things that he's not doing, like in terms of add-ons, ways to make additional money.
Uh-huh.
That's how like a lot of private equity works.
Yeah.
And then you
They'll
just need
come
a good
in, they'll
mentor.
make it more profitable, more efficient,
Yeah.
all that.
What about like
They'll make it
picking
grow
a
faster.
market? Because I do real estate in Southern California.
Yeah.
And like in Southern California, there's termites, there's dry rot. That's
Yep.
like a big thing, especially
Yeah.
when people like sell houses. It's like you need a clear termite report.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is not the same in Vegas. In Vegas, there's no termites.
Right.
So do you think it's important for people to pick the right market to do pest control, or you think it works everywhere?
It just depends on what you're doing. So like, in fact, my first company, we did termites because we were in California. And then the second company, I just noticed that 80% of my headaches were coming from termites, and it only brought in 20% of the business. And I'm like, you know what? I want to scale fast. There's a lot more liability on the termite side. I'm just not going to do termites. I'm going to focus on the other 50 pests that are out there and not worry about it.
Oh, really?
So we did more general pests. So in rodents, so it's spiders, ants, cockroaches, wasps,
Interesting.
mice, rats. All
I
kinds of
thought it was the opposite. I thought
Scorpions.
termites was like the big thing.
No, it's
Just
only
the
about
MRR,
It's only
right?
about 20% of the overall business.
Is most of the money just from the monthly that they give you?
Yeah. So the sweet spot's the recurring revenue model, right? Because pests are kind of like weeds. A gardener can go out and weed your property once, but the weeds are going to come back in a month or two. Same thing with bugs. Like you can treat them, but they're going to keep coming back over time, and so you got to go out on could be anywhere from monthly to every 2 months to every 3 months, depending upon what state you're in, how buggy it is.
What's the average like order size, you think, for the reoccurring?
Let's see. It's probably like anywhere from like a mom and pop might only charge like $100 to $110,
Yeah.
whereas the bigger guys might charge $150.
So you gotta get a ton of these things for it to make a million.
Yeah, and it also depends too. Like
That's why you're
talking
buying
quarterly
business.
You're talking every other month, or you're talking monthly. The prices go down if you do it monthly.
Got it.
Does everyone in that industry just door to door is basically it? Does digital ads and stuff work, or it's just
Digital ads is the primary way.
Oh,
The larger companies do it.
got it.
Yeah,
because
we
it's like
did
so much
digital.
work.
Yeah, we did digital as well. It was probably 20% of what we did. And I know right now they're working on that, building that out even more. The digital, you'll even get better customer retention out of the digital. And then back in the day, they used to do all kinds, like only the bigger companies would do TV and radio and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But even the little guys, they do like newspaper ads and, direct mailers and
What about phones? Just
Cold
phone
calls,
sales.
just calling. A long time ago, you would see that. I don't really see that anymore. Almost everything has gone to digital now.
Yeah, I always wondered why they did door to door instead of just like putting a dial.
It's free for the company. It's all commission. These guys just hustle.
So the door-to-door thing came in play back in the early 90s. And some guys, I don't know, there's like one, so it started somewhere. I think it may have started at Clark Pest Control or Terminex. I can't remember. But someone just said, it was the son of, I think, somebody who worked at the company, and said, hey, can I go try selling this door to door? And it worked. He was really good at it. But it was really hard for other people to do it. And over time, over about 10 years, there was maybe, I don't know, just a handful of companies, maybe 6 companies that started utilizing it. And even today, I bet there's probably 60 companies max that do door to door. It's not a lot. And there's 20,000 pest control companies.
I mean, speaking of scale, so clearly door to door is harder to scale at a high level.
Yeah, it's just really hard to do. It takes a really good sales training program, because if you think about it, you might knock 120 to 150 doors in a day, and the averages are you're trying to close 2.5 people.
But you said digital was only 20% of your revenue. So where'd the 80%
That was just for us. For everybody else, that's like all of the revenue.
Right.
So what that tells you is we could grow way fast. We grew 7 to 10 times as fast as the other companies because they weren't doing door to door.
So 80% was door to door for you.
Just for me. Yeah.
Because you just knew that was your competitive advantage.
Yeah, that's how I got into the industry. And so that's what we knew really well. And that's where we really focused a lot of our time initially.
I've wondered about that. So like for me, all right, enough about you.
Okay.
We know what you need to do.
Yeah.
You just need
I need
to
to buy
grow up.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to buy one.
So for me, I think about competitive advantage and like, what's my background and expertise.
Right.
And it's like, for me, I'm really good at digital with social media and running paid ads and Meta and all those things. And so like, I've done it successfully across lots of different industries, and we've done tens of millions in different things.
It's great.
And I've just been thinking a lot about, do I just like use this skill on just different products and industries? Like I'm thinking about going into insurance next and just like utilizing the skill of digital marketing and content distribution. Or, then I hear these guys doing door to door and I'm like, maybe we could build sales teams. It's not, we've done it before, but then I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a headache, like, I don't know. It's just like, cause I'm thinking, okay, if he's like, all right, how does the guy go from 1 to 10 million? I'm like, what changes do I have to make to go from 10 to 100?
Yeah. So you might be able to go like 1 to 10 million, maybe 1 to 5 million if you're doing it on your own. Not so much pest control, but a lot of other things, maybe digital, if you're scaling something all through digital marketing, but at some point you have to hire somebody else, right?
Yeah.
To also do something like kind of similar to what you're doing. And you have to create different types of funnels and people are working in different things, right? Different aspects of digital. That's the hard part is how do you scale? How do you start getting other people, and creating different job descriptions and keeping people happy, paying them right, building a culture, that can scale over time and get bigger and bigger. And then can you have it all in one headquarters, or do you need, different locations in the country because you're getting access to different types of talent? That's the 10 to 100 million. And each business is different. Digital would be a lot easier, I would think, than having to scale a brick and mortar location type business.
Or where you're servicing thousands of homes with pest and across the country.
Yeah, we're in 5,000 cities in 34 states and it's all over the place.
Yeah, your operational fulfillment's got to be a lot doing that.
Yeah, it's millions of customers.
Yeah, like versus like maybe a software company or like even just a online service-based company where it's like, you could basically be anywhere just fulfilling the work.
I always get jealous when I hear people where they've got, a software business. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, we just crossed the $1 billion mark. I'm like, how many employees you got? They're like, oh, we got like 10. Like, what? Like, we got like 6,500 or whatever. It's crazy. 7,000.
Yeah.
Damn.
That was our peak. And it's been changing too, like AI and customer call centers. And there's been a lot of phases that we've gone through with the company where we've said, okay, like if we're trying to meet certain margins and we're trying to, be like a big boy in this company, this is what the other companies are doing in order to get costs down. And so that's been interesting having to we had our own call center for a really, really long time. And eventually we're like, you know what? These other call centers outside are doing it better than we're doing it.
Like virtual assistants.
Yeah, we like A/B tested it. We're like, first it was real people, like real people in different countries that were doing it, and you can't hear the accent, and they were better at saving customers. And we're like, shoot, like
they're cheaper, better.
Yeah, cheaper, but like we're like we got to make the switch. And then now, like they're having AI.
Yeah.
People don't even know that they're on the phone with AI.
Yeah,
but.
And it's
that's the next day.
And it works 24/7.
Yep. And it can be the perfect, everything's perfect, right? The pitch, like
you don't have to retrain
what
them.
They say. Yeah. You don't have to retrain them. You're not getting, it's kind of like that McDonald's mentality, right? It's like everything, it's consistent, Yeah,
like imagine you needed like 500 call center reps and it's just like, they all get better together, like, and if you need more, it's instantly hired. And it's like, I was thinking about it with Tesla actually, because Elon was talking about automated or full self-driving and stuff and how, autonomous driving is going to take over.
Yeah.
And he said something that really stuck with me. He goes, people are scared about these cars driving themselves, but we'll let a 16-year-old who has 40 hours of driving experience drive.
Right.
Yeah.
And our vehicles have billions of hours.
Yeah.
Of driving experience across the entire world, all in this hub. And so every single vehicle gets that same experience instantly. And I was like, dang, why would you ever let a 16-year-old drive? Like,
it's not rational.
It's not rational at all. And then 16-year-olds and teens account for like this crazy rate of death and fatalities on the road. It's like insane.
For drunk drivers, you don't have to worry about the Tesla being drunk one night.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And it's all about the data, right? Like I know some people who are nervous about flying right? And I'm like,
Right.
if you go look at the commercial record for flights, like we've had like one major accident in like 15 years on big commercial flights.
Yeah.
It's like super rare that there's ever a problem. Just like you're way more likely to get struck by lightning or something,
Yeah.
than die in a plane.
I want to talk about like you as an entrepreneur. Like, how did you have to level up from running like a $10 million business to like hundreds of $1 million businesses?
Oh, that's a really good question. One of the things I found in order to scale was the importance of culture.
Okay.
And building the right culture. So I read this book by Tony Hsieh. It's called Delivering Happiness.
Yeah.
You guys may
Great
know
book.
Zappos.
I did the Zappos tour here too.
Yeah.
It was a great tour.
Yes, I've done it multiple times. I went to like a cultural conference there for 3 days where they teach you all their, a lot of their secrets. I met with Tony and I asked him the question. I'm like, why do you do this? Like you're giving away all your competitive advantages. And he's like, I just think the world would be a better place if everybody operated this way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm selfish. I get it. Like it's wrong frame of mind. And I really, it's one of the reasons why I'll go do podcasts now is like, I promised myself, okay, I'm going to give back. I've sold the business. I can be totally open now and just say,
yeah,
whatever. And Tony is great that way. But delivering happiness, the cool thing about it was, he had his first company, I think it was called Linked Exchange, and he made hundreds of millions of dollars on it, but he was miserable, right? Because the culture, he didn't focus on bringing in the right people. As they started to scale really rapidly, they were just bringing anybody with the right resume, but not the right personality or the things they wanted to attract to the company, the right certain types of people. And so he just said, moving forward, we're going to have core values. We're going to hire only based on those core values. Of course, they have to have the resume right, but and then they developed this really great training program so they can almost take anybody, certainly for their call centers, and get them trained. It was more about who is this individual? Are they willing to learn? And do they have our core values? And if they do, then great. So we really focused on that a ton once we got with Altera, because my second company, it started to feel more corporate, where it's like, okay, we're trying to create all these recipes for success and there's all these rules. And we were starting to lose some of that family feel that we had at the first couple locations, my first company. Yeah.
So maintaining like, even though you have thousands of employees, like not being corporate.
Yeah. Trying to find ways just to be different. And so, we did that with, unique company headquarters and wild company retreats. Like initially we started going to a different island on Hawaii every year, and we take like each different department to like a different place, but we're like jumping off, we're doing cliff jumping, we're doing skydiving, we're swimming with sharks.
Oh, wow.
It's just all this like really wild fun stuff. Cause a lot of the kids that go out and sell pest control are college students.
Right.
And so they got tons of adrenaline and they just want
just having,
it was this way to like brain share, because we found if we got them close, like number one, there was better retention.
Yeah.
Number two, they shared ideas. Like it was for all the top salespeople or top.
Yeah. They're talking about what they're doing.
Yeah. They're talking about what their secrets were, and they could call each other and say, hey, have you thought about this or that? And then it was just memorable. It's like, we wanted to celebrate our success. We were doing wild things nobody had ever done in pest control before.
What was the average age of your employees? They had to be like super low with them.
Yeah. It's like early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just managing all these kids.
Pretty much. There's a lot of them, it's like the first time job, and so you get some pretty wild stories.
Yeah. They have no idea what's going on. Why is it only a summer thing? Because they're all in college?
That's how it kind of started. And it's stayed that way for a large part of it. Like the solar energy companies are more of a year-round thing. That became a better like, hey, you can go do this year-round. Bugs are worst in the summertime.
Yeah.
And so that kind of made sense.
And weather.
Yeah,
If
the
you're in
weather.
Midwest, like it's brutal.
Yeah, you should have more pest pressure in the summertime, so it's easy. And it started out with somebody who was on a college break, and they said, oh, I'm going to recruit some friends. And then it just continued to do that. And there's some guys where they might come out early, like in the spring. Like even after they graduate, there's probably 10 to 15% of students that say, I'm going to do this for life, because they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the year they'll take off and they'll go surf, or they'll just hang out with family, or they'll have other like types of things to do.
Literally for 9 months, just live off of a killer summer.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's wild. It's like outside of the world of normal for most people, what you can achieve in it.
Yeah. So you were telling us beforehand, you had a solar company too, that you sold for a small amount of money for your other stuff, but like a very large amount of money for most people.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I mean, it just sucks because that industry just got really hit, and
It's a tough
it could have
one.
been better.
Yeah, it's tough with interest. I was a co-founder on it. One of the guys in our pest control division pitched us on this idea of starting a solar company. And he said, for a lot of these guys that are older, they don't want to recruit sales teams, and they're more going to be like career people. We think solar is going to be a better avenue for them. So we said, okay, let's pilot it. So we went out first year just took 20 reps and try it. Did really well. The next year we're like, all right, let's try 150 reps and see how that goes. Went really, really well. The operations took some time to figure out. It was rough.
Yeah.
Initially we were just going to sell, and then we found out that some of these other the companies that were doing the operations for us were going out of business. We're like, okay, well, we have to control it all, and it's just really messy. But the hardest thing about all of it was interest rates went up, and so that ruins the math in terms of why somebody might do it if they're trying to not have an energy bill, right? It's like maybe initially you had to do it for 8 years, and then from then on, your energy might be essentially free. But if your interest rate goes up, now it may be 10 or 12 years, and then if Trump passes the big, beautiful bill, which he did, now there's no more incentives.
Yeah.
Like federal
it's
incentives.
like selling it is like impossible. At
Like
this
how
point.
many years does it take to pay off? It's just really hard to get people to do it. Like, to pitch people on the idea, it's only for the environment. There's only so many people who will do it for that reason.
Most people don't care.
Yeah. It's more financial. It's like, hey, if you can save me money and I'm going to be here, that makes sense. But it's like, it takes 15 years to pay this thing off. I don't know if I'm going to be here in 15 years.
Yeah.
True.
What do you think about, with all these different opportunities out there and everything else, like shiny object syndrome? Because you did pest for all this time, and then somebody pitches you on solar, and it sounds like you didn't do anything other than pest until that point.
Yeah.
Like at a high level.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is, it's find a model and is it proven? I don't mind shiny things as long as it's like, hey, you know what? That's done well. And so there was another company like Vivint had done solar, and they sold their company for like $3 billion. They did very, very well on it. And we saw multiple companies start building up, and we're like, you know what? I think we can replicate that. So, it's okay. Like, do a pilot, see how it goes. It went well. Started
Just keep going.
Yeah, put more people into it. It's doing really well. I don't think there's any problem with that. But the thing I see some entrepreneurs, they'll kind of jump from thing to thing to thing because they don't think it's working. And it's like, well, stick with it and try everything you can. And then if it doesn't work,
Move on.
You can bail out. Like if it's just costing too much money.
Would you say
Our solar company was costing a ton, especially the operations, like to be very upfront. I was basically like,
you're like, I'm done.
And then the guys are like, all right, they actually didn't need any more money after that point. It was amazing. They pulled it off. But the other key, and this is where I was going to go, is get the right people. If you're going to go do something new, hire the experience of people who know how to do it if you're not buying a company. So that would be the other way to do it is,
So
go find somebody who's great at it and bring them in and give them a piece of the company.
Yeah. The way I always have looked at like these door-to-door companies is like, you're really just like sales organizations at the end of the day.
Sure.
And the product is kind of irrelevant. Like whether it's pest or so, because it's like these guys jump around from freaking thing to thing all the time.
Does happen.
And it sounds like solar, you were kind of just like, yeah, I guess we'll just sell solar, and then like someone else will handle operations and fulfillment. It'll be all good.
Yep.
And then it's like when that failed, it's like, oh crap, now we're like actually a solar company.
Yeah.
This
it's like the only way to survive.
Yeah.
Really do this is this way. Cause otherwise, if people are going bankrupt, no one's going to want to stay with the company.
Yeah.
Like we ended up paying out sales reps on a ton of accounts that were bad just to keep people. So they didn't, look at it as like it was our fault. They understood that the operations side went out of business, but it's like, well, we want to at least keep our upfront side of the commissions or whatever that we made.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Dang. So what do you think about like just opportunity in general? Because we've been having this conversation with different people about like, there's just different points in history where there's just really good opportunities. And it's like, you either capitalize on it then, or the opportunity passes. And like, there's things like real estate and stuff that'll just, it's always going to be around. But clearly, like if you would have bought houses in 2010,
oh man,
you would have just, what an opportunity versus today. Right.
Of course, in Vegas, 2010, who wanted to buy a house, right?
Nobody wanted one. And it was just like, you should have.
Yeah. So
it's like, and then you see it in other things too, where these people like, whether it's this current AI kind of boom that we're in right now, or it could be, all this stuff with the .com or social media. It's like, how does that play into how you see things?
In terms of timing?
Like, do you look for these like really crazy opportunities where you feel like the wind's at your back and everything? Or are you just like,
I'm a little different.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm more risk averse. And so I try to find things where it has been consistent for a while and then go into
Predictable.
Yeah. I mean, if I had the foresight on the, all the subsidies for the solar side, I could have said, hey, that might go out at some point, but it had been around for so long. I kept thinking, they're going to keep this to keep promoting it because it was only in so many states at that point, and
Yeah.
they were really trying to promote it.
But clearly the guys who got into solar early, those guys caught the perfect opportunity.
Totally. It's like catching the right wave. And sometimes waves just end,
Right.
Industry's completely, it's kind of funny. I think eventually solar will come back as interest rates go down, and then they get the product to be more efficient, and so that the math will make sense later on,
Right.
where you don't even need the reimbursements or whatever.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with interest rates in the economy? What's like I mean, I'm sure you talk to a lot of different high level people being a part of all these groups and things.
Yeah. I mean, who knew Trump was going to bomb Iran? Right?
Yeah, like
I knew. He said he was going to.
And Venezuela just like drops in, takes the person out, and we're like, okay, now we have access to a bunch of oil, and it's just wild what's going on. It's hard. I think that's the lesson of economies and everything else. It's hard to predict anything.
Yeah.
Right. When you think about the stock market, people always say, well, what's the best time? And they've proven go in just today, whenever it is, right? Because you'll lose money trying to time the market. It's almost impossible to time it. I'm more of I look back and try to see what has industry done, and is that sound going into it. And then you also have disruptors, right? Where they look and they say, there's this new wave coming. I see the set, it's way out there, but it's coming in. This is the like AI wave.
Yeah.
And if I get on that wave now, it might grow really, really big, and I might have a huge wave to surf.
Yeah. That's kind of how my mind thinks. Like, it's very much in that regard.
Yeah. But sometimes, you're surfing and the wave doesn't get big.
Yeah.
You think it's going to, it doesn't. Like,
so I got to catch like 10 waves.
Yeah.
it's more risky. I'm more like, I want to go to Kelly Slater's wave pool where it's consistent. I can catch that wave, and if I miss it, I can catch another one and just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
I'm more like you. I like stability and like consistency.
Yeah.
And like proven, like if I could see it, then I could believe it. I can't see things that haven't happened yet.
The reality is we all believe that all the money is in disruption. And granted, there are like some of these groups like Meta or whatever, Amazon, where it's kind of a winner takes all scenario.
That's how tech kind of is.
Yeah, it's a little different in tech. But the reality is that only 5 to 10% of companies are disruptive like that.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of innovation is what's called incremental innovation, where it's in boring business models.
Hell yeah.
So like in the Wall Street Journal last year, an article came out that was called The Stealthy Wealthy. And it said that the top 1%, or I'm sorry, actually, it was the top 0.1% of income earners, meaning you make $2.3 million or more per year, that you're in a boring blue collar business, basically. Traditional, like something.
What percentage?
43%. It's almost half.
Boring.
Almost half of businesses. But if you think about what's in the news, like, it's rare that you see like, pest control company sells for $1 billion or something. Like, they don't care about that.
No.
They care about like AI and what's disruptive and what's scary, right? Because that's what the algorithm wants to project to people, because they know they can get you hooked. The more eyeballs you have, the more they make up advertising.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of businesses out there, incredible businesses. They just
pest control companies innovating. They have a new sprayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like snoozer, right?
It's killing it.
Yeah. The truth is, like, a lot of these unsexy businesses have sexy margins.
Yeah.
And there's so much money being made, in businesses that, just not talked about at dinner parties.
Yeah. I want to do like a sexy one just to like see.
I'll do it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question. So you've sold over $1 billion worth of businesses. Do you believe that being poor is a choice?
Yeah, I think in some ways you got to win the ovarian lottery. I think anybody that's born in the United States, has won the ovarian lottery to a degree, right? Like we have advantages that most other countries don't have, especially in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It doesn't, if who your parents are, that can certainly help. Right.
But let's say for able-bodied men in the United States.
Yeah. I think that there's an opportunity for everybody. The question is, how much do you believe? Did you have parents or mentors or role models or teachers who helped you believe in yourself? Or was your upbringing so much like you can't do anything? Like psychologically, you've been programmed for so many years that it's really hard. Then you have to really make a conscious choice to say, okay, am I going to leave all that behind? And that's, I think it's hard to do for a lot of people. Do I believe there's opportunities everywhere? Absolutely. And the access, it's funny because today, it used to be you had to know where to go to get the information. And then you had to go, work hard and get investment money or whatever. That's part. So really today, it's like the information's all over the place. You can take a course on almost any type of business and how to get into it and how to make money on it. You can buy businesses, you can learn them. It's easier than ever now with the internet and just access and AI. But I think that, I'm trying to think of where I'm going with this, but yeah, I think it's more about, are you a doer? Can you do it? Do you believe in yourself? Are you going to work 16 hours a day? Like when I tell people I did that for 10 years and they're like, what? And I'm like, no, but I loved it. It was fun. Like, it's so cool to be 110% focused on one thing. And other people are just like, oh, dude, I don't want to do that. That sounds like, this sounds like a crappy job, or it's like, you're not having fun. And for me, it was fun. Like I turned it into a fun thing. Like I thought, gosh, if this pays off, if I keep doing this, I mean, I could have hundreds of millions of dollars. Like it'd be insane. And then I could do whatever I want, like for work. So it was like a way out for me. And I had like financial trauma growing up. My mom told me she thought we were going to lose the house the next month. And it freaked me out as a kid. My dad was working 5 days a week and he wasn't at home. He was traveling. My mom was working during that time. And it made me like go, I don't want to be in this position. I want control of my life financially. And when I find that opportunity, I'm going to work my ass off so I never have to go back. And I probably leveraged that. I know I did.
Yeah.
Just to keep me going, to keep me grinding, keep me like focused on what I wanted.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of telling you before, because he's asked this to other people before too. And it's like, most people just, it's their surroundings and just how they grew up. They just do not believe. They're skeptical of everything. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the person teaching them. They believe everyone's against them because that's what their reality has been.
Yeah. And it's hard how much time, what I found is, and psychologists would tell you this, you try to recreate what your life was growing up because that's what's normal to you. And so if you believe nothing is possible, you constantly tell yourself, or you try to recreate it. It's almost like you self-sabotage yourself.
Dang.
And so you have to find ways. So like, I don't know, maybe like get Tony Robbins' 30 Days of Personal Power, just listen to that over and over and over to try to get out of that mentality. But it's hard. Really, the answer is it depends. Because I think some people have had such a rough upbringing, maybe it was a single parent home, or they're foster kids. I mean, some of those situations are so brutal.
Yeah.
It'd be really, really tough.
What's like one of the most bizarre things you've told yourself or done to be successful?
Bizarre things.
Like I tell people sometimes they should give up having sex before, if they don't hit their goals, like they shouldn't have sex.
I like that. It's like super.
There we go. He gets it.
That's super motivating.
That's super motivating.
I mean, I would be
super motivated.
So many doors.
For me, it was just more like little things. Like I'd draw a chart, like in the summers when I was out selling, I'd draw a chart, and it's like, I'd put school books, photos of that, almost like a vision board, and then I'd have like, I don't know, like something for weekends, like movies or whatever. But then it would be like a new car or I don't know, something else. But I would keep finding ways. Like if I stay focused on this, I can have this. I'm very incentive driven. And I figured as long as I had something to look forward to, I could keep focused on it and keep going.
Got it. But you need like a visual.
Yeah, for me, it's visual. I like seeing it every single day. So it might be on my mirror, if I'm brushing my teeth in my bathroom, I can see it every morning, I can see it every night. And sometimes I'll write something on it about like a statement about what do I want this year for annual goals. And it's, every morning, every night, I look at it, I read it, I think about it.
But what do goals look like for you now? Because like a lot of the material things that we would see on a vision board are there. And
My goals now are more around my family.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how do I be a good dad? How do I try to put that drive into my children?
Yeah.
You know, how do I be a good partner? You know, and be attentive and emotionally vulnerable, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
You know, it's more, it's focused on longevity, you know, and do I make sure to work out each day or every other day? Do I eat right, you know, to respect my body? And do I get enough sleep so that I'm not irritable throughout the day?
How many kids do you have?
2 daughters. Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you think it's possible? Because I have 4 kids, 7 and under.
Wow.
And I've built everything I built from like nothing, working 30, 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And, you know, never the weekends and stuff. And I'm just like rolling with that train as far as it takes me. Because people are like, have you ever worked the 80-hour days? And I'm like, no, actually I haven't.
Yeah.
Like I just have refused from the get-go. Like I'm not anti-work. I work hard, but I'm anti-grind.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to enjoy life.
That's great though. I think that's really good to have a healthy balance and know what you want out of it and enjoy it.
Do you think you could get to 100 million with that mindset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just might take you a little longer. For me, so I had ADHD growing up and it was undiagnosed. I didn't know. My parents didn't realize it. And it took me longer to study everything. And I had to work harder for everything.
Yeah.
And so my philosophy is, I may not be the smartest kid, but I can outwork people.
Yeah.
That's going to be my superpower. And so maybe it takes me 16 hours, maybe it only takes you 8, you know?
Yeah. And that actually was like my reality. Like I was always smarter than everyone. And like, I could just do my homework, like I could go past tests without studying, just like listening. And I don't know, things just always came easier.
Yeah. And so I mean, maybe I did what I did in spite of all the extra hours I worked. I think almost going bankrupt that first year. And then I was going to go do investment banking anyways, which took 80-hour weeks. And I'm like, or 100-hour weeks. And I'm like, I might as well do the exact same thing I was going to do here and, you know, grow it as fast as I can and make it as big as I can. You know, at some point I want to have a family and not have
what's interesting? I've never shared this story, but I just thought about it because you mentioned how your mom thought she was going to lose the house and everything else. And I know you mentioned you grew up with a single mom and, you know, having to go work and stuff. So it's weird because I never had like the scarcity trauma of finances, even though we actually did lose everything. My parents, you know, in 2008 you know, I grew up middle class. Their dream house got foreclosed on. They lost all their businesses. They lost everything.
Wow.
And, you know, I experienced this while I was in college, you know, watching them lose it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, by the time I became, you know, an adult and then started to work, you know, I literally like they had nothing and I had to support them and give them money and stuff when I was 21 years old.
Wow.
But like I don't know that it traumatized me or like made me feel any different about money. It was just like, this just is the situation. Like this is 2008. Like it's happening to a lot of people. It sucks. And like we had a great life and now they don't. I guess what actually it did for me was I was just like, I can't depend on my parents. They are not going to support me. So it's either I make it happen or, you know, we don't. And then I got married super early, right? You know, I had no money and got married and just like, I don't know. But I felt like I never had that kind of scarcity mindset that I know a lot of people who grow up without money have, or because maybe for 18 years I did have money. Yeah. Until we didn't.
It could be too. My hypothesis on that would be when you're younger, it's probably more intense for you because you're absorbing all these different things.
Yeah. Because we were good.
We're not like a grown man. You're 18 plus. Yeah. You know? It's hard, but it's like, okay, like I can handle this. Like this sucks. This happened. You kind of know what's going to happen. Like you're in control of your future. You're in college. You can figure it out. Whereas when you're a kid, you're like, I don't know what that means. Living out of a car or something. I don't know.
I remember like as a kid, I would watch my mom cry because she just didn't have money. Like I would just sit there and like kind of watch her. Yeah. And I would save and I would put money in her purse. And my little sister would ask for stuff and I would respond and be like, no, we can't buy that. Mom doesn't have money. So like, I just grew up with that. Like, we don't have money. We need to like save. Well, I need to save because my mom doesn't have money. but I think it was a good thing because I kind of like
It's a
learned
gift.
to save money instead of like
Right.
other people where maybe their parents have a ton of money and they're not financially responsible at all. They don't know how to save. They don't know how to go work. They're just like, oh, everything's going to be fine because mom and dad are going to pay. Are you going to pass your children cash?
No.
Can you pass me
So-
cash?
Actually, so yes, my plan is to give everything away.
Everything.
And I've thought about maybe like United Negro College Fund, honestly, like some place where I can put it where kids who they just don't have the means, but
Yeah.
they've worked hard and they're able to go to college, but they just don't have the financial means to do it.
United Davila Fund. That sends you the information. Just my Zelle account.
Well, I don't know that
Totally.
college is going to matter much by the time you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may not. I've told my kids, I'm like, look, I'll take care of your college for you, and you have access to us, and all these families that we know, like, but you got to go make it on your own. I want them to have purpose.
So you're not like,
No, you're not
you're
giving
going
them
hyper extreme.
I have seen so many bad situations come from that.
Yeah.
And it scares me. Because,
Not even like $1 million.
well, there might be a little something there, but
Like buy him a house.
yeah, no.
No, you're not.
No.
buying a
house?
No, I'm just like,
it's a house.
you guys, I had to go out and make it on my own. You guys go make it on your own.
Yeah.
Really? Even
Yeah.
though you have daughters. How old are your daughters?
Yeah. I tell them there's 3 ways to get rich, right? 1 is to inherit it. 2 is to marry it.
Yeah.
And 3 is to go make it. I'm like, the first one, inheritance, it's not going to happen.
You can go 2 of 3.
There's 2, actually. Yeah.
You guys are women, so
Yeah.
there's 2 of 3. You got this.
Damn. But why?
I think there's part of me that was somewhat resentful towards people where it was just completely.
They didn't earn it. They just, yeah.
Earn it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I've seen now is people who've been given it, they struggle with it
Yeah.
because they're like, no matter what I do, I will never make this much.
Mm-hmm.
And so why does it really matter if I go out and work?
Yeah.
It's almost debilitating.
That's what I was saying, where they grow up, where they're just used to they don't have to really worry about anything. And then they're like entitled, where they just expect, like,
Yeah.
I want a Mercedes. I want this. I want that. And then it's never good enough. I've seen that myself where I've had rich friends where they get stuff and they're like, yeah, he bought me a Mercedes, but it was like 2000 and
I know.
it's 2 years old. And you're like, bro, what are you talking about? But what about like, because I'm thinking about with my kids. So quick story. I watched my father-in-law. He built a bottling business. So he makes all the bottles for Lucas Oil. And what he did is he gave all his children a job. So they all work in the bottling company as like managers or just different stuff. And they make a great living and they all work together.
Sure.
So I got inspired to think like maybe the best thing I could do is just give my kids an opportunity, not money, but an opportunity like, hey, if you want a job, it's right here and you're going to be safe. You're going to work with me and it's all good. What do you think about that idea?
I don't think it's bad in terms of like an option.
Yeah.
If it's right for the kid,
Yeah.
because I've seen a lot of kids kind of get forced into it when their parents are like, hey, come do this because they want them to run the company someday. And I've seen a lot of people like basically get addicted to drugs and other stuff because they're self-medicating because it's like super stressful and they don't have the same horsepower that maybe their parents did or whatever. So yeah, I think it depends on the child. Things I've seen that are really good is the parents, before they bring them in, they'll say, okay, go work for 5 or 10 years somewhere else. And then you can kind of decide whether you want to come back. And if the child has gone out, like done investment banking or become an entrepreneur, and then they come back into it, it's like, okay, yeah, you really do have that horsepower to come run this size of business. Depends on the size of the business, but yeah, it's like, go figure it out. Let's see how well you do out there before bringing you in, just so that, I don't know. Like for me, I wouldn't want to make the mistake. Part of me doesn't feel like it's fair to all the executives too and the people who are there, where you bring in some kid and like now they're in charge and maybe they don't run it as well.
Yeah.
Everybody has to like suck up to these kids,
Maybe they don't got to be in charge, but I get what you're saying.
Well,
I have just different opinions. And I also think family business, they're very, very complex.
Yeah.
Because you can't just like fire somebody.
Yeah.
You may say you think you can, but
Yeah.
it's so hard. And so I actually have a lot more respect now for family business, having been in YPO for years. And, there's probably a third of the businesses or 40% of the businesses that are family businesses in my chapter.
Yeah.
Most of them are entrepreneurs.
I did meet a bunch of them, who've been passed down businesses. And it's just like, and maybe this is just me, but there is not, it's kind of like a lack of respect where you're just like, I mean, like, yeah, you're just handed this, like, and it's like, if you inherit a business like that, it's like you never really earn the right of like what it's like to build something on your own.
Yeah. You never know what those crazy hard years were at the beginning.
But my response would be like, who cares? Who cares if other people don't respect them?
No. I'm talking for yourself internally, that you never get to experience the struggle and the testing and the not knowing if it's going to work and starting from zero. And like, you just never get to experience what it's like actually doing it. It's just handed to you.
I get that.
And that, like, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I got to just build everything on my own and learn from that experience and learn from the trials and, but a lot of people don't get to.
It's hard because, like, in a perfect world for me, education would be the great equalizer. So anybody coming from anywhere, if they worked hard in school, even if they didn't have the financial means or the right mentors, or the parents, education could somehow help people. And so I think that's why, for me, like, the idea of giving money to education and helping others would be the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
Would you do politics, especially living in LA?
Oh, man. LA politics.
I heard Gavin Newsom's your best friend.
Yeah. Oh, you like Gavin Newsom?
It's so tough. So I'm independent. And and quite honestly, I don't vote much. And in LA, the crazy thing is, like, I would love to see a group that came together and said, we don't care what you are, but if you're for cleaning up the homelessness off the streets, no encampments, no loitering where they're sitting on benches or shooting drugs, in the parks where your kids are supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
I think almost everybody could get in agreement with that.
Yeah.
Except,
you would think so.
Except the far left, maybe the furthest 10% left.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing, crime. Like, we want low crime. I think everybody can agree we want low crime.
Yeah.
Except for the 10%.
Except for the 10%. But here's what the reality is. The reality is the 10% is the one that many of them vote.
Yeah. And they get the loudest voices.
Yeah.
The most media.
And the problem is like, the algorithms love it. They love because it drives our fear up.
Yeah.
We watch it more and all that. And it's like, you really have these two idiot sides on both sides fighting with each other over these intense things. But the silent majority, all of us in the middle, are like, dude, we just want to, like, raise our kids in a safe town. And
so will you step up and, like, be that in California?
I wouldn't want to be the politician myself.
Kind of look like
it's such a tough it's such a tough thing. It's such a nasty business. I have thought about it, but I think I'd rather support people who want to run, especially that are in different districts or whatever else. Like, the way LA is run is
it's terrible.
There's different groups, and it's really the city council that makes decisions. The mayor doesn't have that much control.
I used to live in California, and I loved California. The two things I hated was, like, fire season sucked. Like, because I would get asthma and I'd be like, dude, it freaking sucks outside.
Oh, tell me about it. I was in the Palisades when the fires happened.
Yeah.
My whole family got relocated.
Yeah. So fire season sucks. And then, like, the policies for homelessness was just, like, ridiculous. And then every time I go to LA and I'm like, dude, some of these places look like Honduras. Like, some of these places they literally look like shacks and, like, I'm like, how is this in the United States? Like, in a great city like Los
the
Angeles,
biggest city in the world.
Yeah. And then, like, there's some areas that it just smells like piss and weed outside.
Yep.
Like, if you're standing outside, it smells like piss and weed. And you're just like, how is this even a thing?
Dude, when I was in San Francisco, this is like 2 years ago, at this, like, nice restaurant, and in the bathroom, there's literally this needle deposit station. And it was like, hey, if you're going to do fentanyl, don't use, literally, I'm not kidding. This was in a bathroom at a nice restaurant. If you're going to do fentanyl, don't, like, share needles. Here's a needle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what in the heck is going on here?
It's crazy because that becomes an attractant for homeless people. Like, all this homeless tourism. Like, I remember someone was telling me in Santa Monica, only 5% of the people who are homeless in Santa Monica are from Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Like, they're from all over the country.
If I was homeless,
This is Hawaii.
This is the mecca of the homeless people. Yeah.
I get it. Like, I want to be there too if they're handing out free needles and You know, the people leave you alone. That's the key thing they say. But it's like, if I was out shooting meth in the middle of the street, like, you'd arrest me.
Yeah.
You know, but everybody looks the other way. Or if I was like, literally, I've been driving, or my wife's been driving our kids, and like homeless people have their pants down. They're like playing with themselves. It's like wild. It's totally wacky.
Why do you live in LA?
So I love LA.
Okay.
I went to Cal State Northridge.
LA is it's the land of extremes, right?
The land of extremes.
So you have this crazy world on with homelessness and crime, and the education's not great. If you have means, then you can put your kids in a private school. But I love the ocean. I love all the restaurants. There's this mentality there of dreamers. People go there and they're just like, I'm going to reinvent myself and do this. And it's super entrepreneurial. There's people from all different types, not just Hollywood too. There's all kinds of different businesses that are there. I just feel inspired when I'm there.
Why don't you live in Orange County?
Orange County is a little bit more bland for me.
Okay.
It's more like the restaurants are more like franchises.
Yeah.
It's less diverse in its thought.
Mm-hmm.
I like LAX. I can get anywhere in the world almost with a direct flight.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I don't know. And the people are typically just doing even bigger things in LA.
Okay.
It's almost like there in San Francisco and New York are the three places where you see all the newest ideas coming out. And it's like you get to experience those first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just inspired by it. I love being a small fish in a big pond.
Nice.
Constantly learning.
Like, we got a new idea. We let anyone do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay bills. You can live anywhere. We'll take your property.
I don't mind people experimenting with things. You know, they said, okay, anybody that steals under $900, we're not going to arrest them or do anything to them.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah. It's like, all right, like you tried it. It didn't go well.
I told you that wasn't going to go well.
I probably would have said that too.
Like, as soon as you, like, okay, I'll go get $800 worth of stuff today.
Here's the amazing thing about San Francisco, and here's what gives me hope for LA. Mayor Lurie. So the story is that there were several billionaires that got together when everything, you know, San Francisco was like the laughing stock of the country, right? For homelessness.
Yeah.
Like there was an app called Snap Crap that came out
Yeah.
to tell you where the recent where there was feces each morning so you didn't step in it on your way to work.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah. That's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
If you go to San Francisco now, it is clean.
Really?
So I took my daughter up there in November.
Okay. I was just there. It was not.
Well, it depends if you go to like the Tenderloin.
Yeah.
Or
It's clean compared to what
Yeah.
it was.
Literally, they told us, like, hey, leave your windows down because people will break into your crap and steal it. So it's better for them to just take it and not break your window.
Just let us have it.
Yeah.
So I took my daughter up there for her 13th birthday to do like a San Francisco trip, like a daddy-daughter thing for 3 days. And we went and did all the tourist spots. I only saw 6 homeless people the entire time.
Okay.
0 encampments. I didn't see a single tent or trash or whatever on the street.
How did they clean it up?
And they enforce it. Just do it.
Wait, what?
It's wild.
The cops just did
like enforcing it. And then they're looking for ways, right, to get people housed. They're bringing in people. So they have really smart people that helped Mayor Lurie get into office. And then the business community they raised a lot of money to try to solve this issue.
Yeah.
And then they're working with Lurie to try to figure out how do we get all these empty offices filled, you know, bring new people in.
Yeah.
But part of it's like, you got to have clean streets. You know, like you can't have homeless people out in front and then going in and stealing. Like in Santa Monica, 85% of residents of Santa Monica say they will not go to the promenade anymore. They say it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And if you go ask the business owners down at the promenade, they will tell you every day or every other day, a homeless person comes in and steals product from
That's
them.
insane.
And there's like nothing that they can do.
That's insane.
And so if you can't protect business owners, and
You can't get a gun.
and the customers don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy. It seems so black and white to me in terms of how to solve the problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys make it so hard for everybody.
Yeah. I would say when I went to San Francisco, I did not see homeless people, but I know there's like crime, but I didn't see as many homeless people as Los Angeles. Because even when you go to Orange County, there's not homeless. Yeah, you do. It's completely different, and it's like
it's a different
30
world.
minutes away. Yeah, so it's a weird thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, in Santa Monica, I've been doing a lot of research in Santa Monica specifically, but 75% of arrests are homeless people.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if you just cleaned it up, the nice thing about Santa Monica, it's just a box. And so if you actually just said, we're going to enforce no encampments, they could push it all outside into LA and you can actually enforce it and have a great city.
Yeah.
I think Santa Monica could be like the incubator for the rest of Los Angeles if they really wanted it to.
Yeah.
But clean up the streets. No, the one problem they have is that the LA County drops syringes into the parks. They bring them to the homeless people.
So stupid.
And it's a magnet, right? Because they want needles to go do drugs, and then they're doing meth in the parks. Like no parent's gonna let their kid go there.
Did you see Nick Shirley? He was out there with the homeless people, and he found a camp where there was like children that came from like Central America, and they were homeless, and then they found, the city workers were walking around giving packets of like needles and syringes and all that stuff.
Where did that idea even come from? Of like,
probably Oregon, Portland.
But like
that policy.
Yeah.
They're just like, you know what? Instead of trying to help them not do drugs, let's just enable them to do it safely.
Yeah.
Like, where did that idea come from?
I think
the far 10%. Refer this on that side,
It's like just campaigning on needles.
Yeah.
I don't mind the idea of like, let's test something, let's try it. But some ideas is like,
Did you see you posted it actually. There's a guy running for a government office here, and he has a picture with Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
He's like, I 100% support her. And in my mind, I'm like, who thought that was a good idea? That's your marketing, is you with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Like she lost. Nobody.
But you get half the country, right? It's like,
but I don't even know if like Democrats like her. Yeah.
Well, that was close, but
I think I try to convince.
Pretty dang close.
Like the next election, you're gonna have a shirt that says "I support Kamala."
Yeah.
Like nobody's doing that.
No. I try to get Grant Cardone to run for office too. Because we need someone like you or Grant to go fix it. We need an entrepreneur that knows how to run businesses, like run the business of government.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, how much power do they actually even have?
I think they have a lot of power.
Okay.
Look at Trump. I mean, everyone says
a lot. Like,
exactly.
Like him or hate him.
Yeah.
He's actually making moves.
Like entrepreneurially, he's tested stuff.
Yeah.
See if he can get away with
I
it,
think that governors and mayors have more power than what we think they have. They're just afraid to do. They're afraid to test stuff. Where Trump will just.
I think it's hard when you're a career politician and that's your livelihood.
Exactly.
Whereas Trump don't care, dude. Trump's just like, bro, like I'm out in like 2.5 years. I'm just going everything that I want to do, and then I'll just be golfing and doing whatever after that.
That's why we need a business person.
Yeah, who doesn't have anything to lose.
Exactly.
My hope is that whoever is next is they're just a little bit more diplomatic.
Do you get
the way they speak?
Yeah.
Do you get access to the politicians because you're so rich?
I mean, if you donated it or you went to like a fundraiser or something, you could.
Yeah. Have you been to those fundraisers?
When Mitt Romney was running, and my headquarters is in Utah.
Oh, really?
I went to a fundraiser for him back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah. I like that he was a business guy. And I thought he was very diplomatic, and I like that he'd come from a blue state. It seemed like he could work across the aisle with people. And I like people who just work with other people.
Yeah.
You're
worth over $100 million. Like, what do you see that us average millionaires don't see? Any crazy parties? Have you ever been to a Diddy party?
Crazy parties. I can't say that one.
He lives in LA.
I can't talk about Diddy or Epstein these days, right? No, I got married young, so it's like I didn't do any crazy parties or anything like that. But there's certainly wild parties, and there's a lot of people who they're almost experimental. They challenge culture and society in general, and so they try different things. Like there's a lot of open marriages I see in LA. There's different types of parties and things. But it's funny because if you step out of the norm, I almost see it as like an entrepreneurial thing. People are trying different things. They don't always work, right? Like a lot of the open marriages, I think they only have like a 5% success rate or something. It's not great,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so open marriages, I guess.
I think Great Vacations is probably, something a lot of people.
I will say that I saw that in, like a lot of these like really rich people, like they are very experimental with their problems. So like, oh, I'm having marriage problems. Let's try this. Oh, you
Ayahuasca.
know, like I have this
Yes, I
crazy
love people do that.
depression thing. And, you know, I'm going to try this new ayahuasca thing. Like it's like that. That's how they think. And I'm like, you know, like you just kind of need Jesus. Like it's not, this isn't rocket science. This has been around. Jesus has been, you know, teaching the same thing for 2,000 years. And like, it's pretty simple. And then this just like, yeah, but I think I'm going to do the ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And then it just never works. And it's always temporary.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What about, okay, what's
I'm
the
curious
best?
on the psychedelic stuff? I'm like very pro psychedelics.
Okay.
But more for like curing trauma. Like you talk about vets, you know, coming back and they've got PTSD and the stats I've seen like around MDMA, for example, it's like, I think it's like 70-80% effective to help veterans get over PTSD. Whereas what they have now, like talk therapy, I think is only 25 or 35% effective. And so if there's something out there or DMT or Ibogaine, that's great. If you have like a psychologist with you, you're doing a guided journey and you're getting over that, by all means, like whatever to help people. Because the last thing we want is a bunch of vets on the streets, you know, homeless, you know, with all this horrible stuff.
What about spending money? So Alex Hormozy talks about like he had to learn how to spend money. So like, what do you spend money on that's worth it? And what's money you've spent that you were like, this was not worth it?
Well, do you know what the hedonic treadmill is?
No, but it sounds expensive.
I've heard of it. I don't.
Okay, so it's not actually a treadmill. So it's an idea. It's an
Ooh.
idea that humans, whatever we're around, we normalize to.
Okay.
And so if something is new, it's exciting first, but then it becomes normal, and then it's just accepted. That's what it is. Somebody once told me that a luxury once discovered becomes a necessity. And then it's no longer a luxury, and you're just like, oh, well, what's next?
Yeah.
And so that's one trap I've seen with a lot of wealthy people is they're always looking for, well, what's next?
Yeah.
Because they have the financial means to do it. But it's almost like it's just never enough, because I think people naturally want to continually improve.
Yeah.
They want to learn. They want to grow. But if you're trying to do that just through material possessions, you're going to run out of what you can do there. It's more about your mind. It's peace and harmony with your family and your partner.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the stuff that's really cool. And it's nice because you actually don't need a lot of money to do that. You know, you might need, I mean, maybe if you're trying to attract a certain partner, you might need some money.
Yeah.
Have a nice car or whatever, but it's awesome. I always tell people like the 3 greatest things in life are, you know, having a partner, kids, and a dog.
Okay.
And all 3 of those, they cost money, but it's not insanely expensive.
Not a cat.
You know, you don't have to be wealthy in order to achieve those things.
Yeah.
You said you used to live in the Palisades before. Like, what's the status up there? Have they just
Not
still
good.
can't
Status is 8% of homes are under construction after 1 year. Only 25% of homeowners have submitted for permits. It's going very, very slow. I think this is like at least a 10-year play to probably get 80-90% of the homes back.
Damn.
Wow.
Because what happened is 10 of the schools burnt down.
Yeah. So nobody.
Almost all the city except for Rick Caruso's village. Burnt down. It's a mess. I bought a new home and it's still there. We're okay, but we're really close to Santa Monica, Palisades border. Whereas most of the city is just toast. It's gone. And the saddest thing, and it's the thing, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't bring your community back.
No.
A lot of our friends, they left to Orange County, to New York, Miami,
They ain't coming
Austin,
back.
Texas. They just said, you know what?
There's no reason.
This is the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, we're done with LA.
Yeah.
What do you think about the billionaire tax thing? That would affect you if they do it.
Wealth tax.
It's not like I'm not a billionaire, but it's a wealth tax. I don't agree with it. Why would you take somebody's money that they've already been taxed on and earned it? If you want to change, like the different levels of tax, like if somebody makes over $1 million a year or whatever, and you want that to go up, or if they make 10 million, they get a higher tax, you could go up. But for California, I'm like, please, you're already the highest in the country. Manage your money better. You know, like why, when you're competing against Florida or Texas and they have 0, and then Miami's trying to pass no property tax too. I don't even know how you do that if you're not getting property taxes or state taxes, but you're competing against other states for business. And California is great and it does really well because of the weather. We call it the sun tax.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Sun tax can only be so high.
We can only put up for so long. You know, it's kind of like walking into It's like walking into like a steakhouse and they're serving you McDonald's. You're like, guys, I'm paying this price for it. At least deliver. You know, or I'm not going to keep coming back to this restaurant. I'm going to go to these other ones that are, you know, a better rate for the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
my hope is that California can get back. Like, I would love to see more moderate Democrats, or I don't even care if it's Republican. I just want people who, they want the basics, right?
Yeah.
And I want to be the model of the country. Like, I want California to be.
How long have you lived there?
Something great that people all aspire to go, you know what, they run that really well. And I think most people can agree at this point, it's not going great.
Yeah. How long have you lived there?
I've been, well, I was raised in Santa Barbara, California.
Okay.
Oh,
And then I've been in LA for 13, 14 years.
dang.
But you were in Utah a lot for business.
Yeah. So I went to school in Utah and then built my headquarters in Utah for 3 years. And I lived there up in Park City and then moved back to LA.
Oh, so you built a business over there and then moved back.
Yeah. So my headquarters was there.
You just weren't there.
We recruited so many people from my alma mater, and then we started expanding into all the other schools around there. And it just made sense to do it there. To honestly, to own a business and, you know, do it in LA. One, it's hard, it's expensive, but two, the talent. Like, if you're looking for people, pest control is not that sexy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to find people who maybe don't have as many opportunities. In LA, there's so many different flashy things all the time.
Yeah.
Be very expensive.
Sell
with
pests.
the right people. Right. Yeah. So Utah and other places, there's not as much going on there. People are super excited about it. So yeah, you got to know your market.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you're recruiting all the guys too, have already knocked doors for the last bunch of years. And
That was really,
freaking,
that was the key.
yeah.
You know, lots of return missionaries there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I get paid to do this?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Well, dude, it's been great having this conversation, getting to know you. It's been insightful. Really appreciate it. Where can people connect with you?
Yeah, just go on LinkedIn and find me. Or if they've got interest in sales, they go to activerecruiting.com, and
There we go.
you know, if they're just looking for some money, they hear it, they're inspired. For me, it was life-changing. And I don't know, like I always loved developing people. That's where my heart was. I wasn't excited about pest control so much, but I was really good at it.
Yeah.
And the sales and developing people is what, you know, was that initial spark.
So you do
Gave me
coaching?
Not really.
No? Oh, okay.
No.
I thought you said like go to the website.
No,
they can
recruiting.
Yeah, just recruiting. If someone's
To
like,
go be a
all
sales
right,
guy.
I'm making minimum wage right now. I want to go do this. I'm young and hungry.
Yeah.
I got a summer break coming up.
Yeah. I think he's going to apply.
Oh, yeah, I was going to apply. I was going to go pay.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, let us know in the chat and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching the last episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you catch the next episode that's playing right now.